Several peaceful protesters under the umbrella of #RevolutionNow have been molested and arrested recently by security agents from the State Security Service, the Nigerian Army, and then, of course, the Nigeria Police. Well, the protesters were demanding good governance, proper infrastructure development, and to extrajudicial killings, the sack of service chiefs, of other poor security situation in the country, and low unemployment opportunities, among other agitations. Well, civil rights activist Agba Jalingo joins us now to talk about the #RevolutionNow movement and the state of the nation. Agba, glad to have you join me. Quite a time.
It's quite a time, Andy.
Yeah, good to see your face.
It's amazing to see you again. I haven't seen you for close to 10 years.
I'm telling you, it's been long. All right, good. So what do you make of... let's start with the arrest, first of all, of the RevolutionNow protesters, and then, of course, eventually letting them go. What's your sense of what transpired there?
Okay, yesterday, I should say very quickly that I watched Kamala Harris yesterday when she was talking after her vice presidential nomination, and she said something in her 17-minute address that struck me very well. She said she enjoyed how her dad and mom used to carry her to all the protests in the U.S., civil rights protests, and that on one of those occasions, her mother told her that she should tell her generations upon generations that they should get prepared to keep marching. And when we got to the road on that day, I just remembered, I'm 42 years old, and I've told my wife, she came to the police station with food and drinks for us, and I've told her, you have decided to marry me, and I'm going to keep marching, and you will tell our children that they have a duty to keep marching regardless of police brutality. That's the feeling I have. In fact, in the local parlance, you see, they are giving us rank when they come to disperse us. We are ready to keep marching. We are not going to be afraid of the arrest. The more they arrest us, the more we are more determined to keep marching. And that's exactly what we are going to keep doing, indeed.
But what do you think the deep-rooted problem is here? Because in recent days, many Nigerians have referred to what's been happening in Lebanon, where an entire government stepped down over the grievances of the people, not to suggest that the Nigerian government should step down for any reason, but it seems as though even just the basic right to protest is something that is always contested. The excuse that was given this time for the multiple arrests, well, at least by the FCT police command, was the violation of COVID-19 protocols. But there's always an excuse. Over to you.
Well, in all our arrangements for the demonstrations that we did around the country, I was part of the organization. As a matter of fact, I am humble enough to say that I am one of the leaders in the RevolutionNow movement. And I know that one of the things we're very particular about, one of the things that our leader, Showore, told us, Omole Showore told us, was that we must be careful to ensure social distancing and, of course, all the rules and regulations guiding the spread of COVID-19. And we made sure that we kept to all of those rules, ensuring that every protester that was coming was warned beforehand to make sure that they wear their nose masks. But let me tell you something. The reason why we are being pursued, dispersed, and tear gas is not because of any other thing other than because of our message. And I will make that very clearly. If we go to the road today and we are doing things that will reinforce the willingness of the Nigerian people to accommodate bad governance, nobody will disperse us. If we go to the road and tell them that you are citizens of heaven, don't worry, when you die, you are going to inherit heaven where everything is fine. You don't need to worry yourself on earth. Pray for your leaders, whether they are good or bad. They will not disperse us. But anytime we go to the streets, even if we have 5 or 10, once they read our flyers, they know that what we have in those flyers are conscious messages that will agitate the minds of the citizens. They are messages that will make the citizens begin to ask questions. The leadership of this country is not willing to tolerate that. Let me tell you, they were part and parcel of those who organized and supported Occupy Nigeria. I was part of that Occupy Nigeria. And those who are in government today were part and parcel of those who were buying us gala, pure water, bringing things for us in Ojota. They know what we can do if they allow us to gather. So anytime we say we want to gather, they are afraid. They have raped this country. They have become immersed so much in the same corruption they said they were coming to fight that they are so afraid that anytime Nigerians gather, there is going to be a problem. And that is why anytime we gather, they come and find a way to disperse us. What were we doing that day? Carrying placards. I was carrying a megaphone. And we are just telling Nigerians that we need to ask questions because suddenly we are back to the same place where we are coming from. And then they are angry. But you know what? This government should know that the harder they push us, the more we will come out. We are only waiting.
Right. Yeah. Agba, let me come in at this very point in time because the presidential spokesperson, Femi Adesina, has called you an irritation, so to speak, and a bunch of funny little fellows. That's in a country of about 200 million people, having just sprinkles of people just coming out and shouting might not even just cut it. And I want to find out from you, do you think this protest is actually garnering the kind of, not just the reaction, but the change that is needed ultimately? Is it getting the traction that is needed to force this change?
You see, the African Action Congress is a political party that was registered less than 2 years ago. And after the elections, today, if you want to rate us, we are number 3 in Nigeria, because after the behemoth, the two criminals, PDP and APC, it is... okay, so you may not be comfortable with that.
You just can't say that.
You may not be comfortable with that.
Not being comfortable, you just can't say that.
Okay. I'll withdraw that. Then I'm saying that the AAC as a party, we are standing there and the conscience and the tears that is rolling down the eyes of this country today, just after 2 years of registration. Femi Adesina was my president in the Nigerian Guild of Editors. I will not have the courage to send the same words that he called us back to him. He's my boss, he's my leader at the Guild of Editors. I will not call him, but I want to tell him something. Let me say something. See, there is a boy called Simply in Cross River State, an illiterate that never went to school. He took up arms and started destroying pipelines and called his group Bakassi Strike Force. After 4 years of killing people and killing even the Nigerian Navy, the Cross River State governor has appointed him as the special advisor on maritime security. We have seen that happening around the country. Every time we carry our megaphones and placards and get on the street, the government comes to call us irritants and call us all kinds of names. Indeed, let me tell you, the AK-47 is not a very complex killing tool. It's a very simple killing tool that everybody can operate, including illiterates that are 16, 17 years. Let the government continue to promote the AK-47 economy above the flyer and placard economy. What they are simply telling those of us who still have faith in the placard is that we can actually carry guns, kill 5,000 to 6,000 people, and after 3 or 4 years, they will come and negotiate and give us amnesty.
Well, that's your idea of what you think they're telling
There is no strain of violence in my body or in the Liberation Now movement.
Good.
But we are saying that the government is making the AK-47 economy look more beautiful than the placard economy, and it is not a good thing for the rest of the country.
I don't see how that is so. But by the way, I was just thinking, while listening to you, it said that when you keep on doing a particular thing one way, unexpected change is madness. You get to a place, you need to tweak what you're doing. Is it possible, I'm just wondering, that your movement, there might be a way, I'm just trying to improve on what my colleague asked Aaron, have you thought of other ways to reach out to the government, get to the people, without necessarily having to be aggressive? That's just what I'm trying to bring across here. Have you thought about other ways, instead of just protest, or even if you want to protest, I don't know, have you thought of other methods,
Well, I don't know what you mean by being aggressive. I cannot remember any time in our history or the history of our activities where we were aggressive. We are a very peaceful people in our party. Shore has been involved in activism for more than 30 years. He has no connection with violence. I've been involved in activism for 23 years. I have no connection whatsoever with any form of violence. And besides protests, we had to go ahead to register a political party. Okay. We have student movements. We have several organs in our political party where we are consciously educating our people every day on how to take Nigeria back. The protests you are seeing, the last one we did was 1 year ago. So if we do a protest once in a year, I think that it is preposterous for anybody to think that protest is our only strategy. In fact, one of the reasons why the government is most afraid of us is because we are ideologically grounded. Every week, our cadres meet in different home cells, just like churches, where we train them and teach them on how to resist without violence. There is no other political party in Nigeria that is doing that. What we did on the 5th was just an anniversary of what happened last year. We are not a protest organization. We are a political party. We are a group of people who are conscientizing their people. We have a dream that is futuristic about taking over Nigeria from these hawks who have held our country down all these years. So we are not aggressive. If there was any strain of violence in our system, we would have taken to it long ago. We are only telling government that it is better to allow us speak our English for 2 hours and go home than to send police to come and make headlines for us. We don't want police to continue to make headlines for us. We want to educate our people and tell them the necessary things that they need to do to take our country back. We have never been aggressive. We are not planning to, and I'm telling you that we have said, if you go to our website, aacparty.org, you are going to see the several activities that are lined up that we are using presently in our various constituencies to mobilize our people to see how we can take this country back from the hawks who have held us down for more than 5 decades, as it were.
I wouldn't say that I've ever necessarily seen the Revolution Now movement as aggressive. I mean, you're holding placards, not guns. But what I wanted to ask is, what next now for the Revolution Now movement? What are those key demands that you're not going to give up on?
We will not give up until we find a leader that will deal with corruption in this country. It is so annoying. Like you earlier cautioned me, I don't want to mention them. It is so annoying to see the dramas, several repeated dramas that they feed us with in this country that lead to nowhere. And then they tell us corruption must end in Nigeria. And we must find leaders that are willing to develop this country and give opportunities to young people in this country. Until that happens, we are not going to stop. If anybody is thinking that police tanks and tear gas will stop us, they should know that we are more determined than even those that are doing violence to continue to carry our placards. We want to challenge them. We want to provoke them to tell the whole world when it became a crime to carry placards. And we are only waiting for our leader to tell us the next day that we'll get back to the street. But I tell you something, we will not be tired. No matter how they bring... The other day, we were on the street. They came with their Black Marias. They were chasing us along the railway. I was there. I was addressing the crowd. They chased us, and then they rounded us up and put us in one vehicle, and the tire went down. I was insisting on social distancing. They refused and packed all of us, 19 of us, into a Black Maria. And we kept singing.
Before you go, let me just chip in this. I want to find out, how is Olawale Bakare doing, and those 3 that were released recently, how are they doing, both physically and mentally?
As a matter of fact, I consider Mandate one of the luckiest young people in Nigeria. The DSS and the rest of them have made him rugged. You see, the more we go into these places and come back, the more rugged we become, the more hardened we become. And I think that Olawale Bakare is growing in that spirit, and he's becoming a stronger young man, far, far, far ahead of his mates.
All right, we don't have all the time. Let me just chip in this.
Okay.
I was thinking how you can, your group, your protest, your group entirely, can really get to involve the youths of Nigeria, you know, either through guessing, I don't know whether it will be, what do you call it, flyers, you know, getting to them through write-ups, through messages that could involve, you know, the loss of them, instead of you and your people just doing it on your own. Have you thought about that?
As a matter of fact, Sarah Reporters is a media arm of the Coalition for Revolution in Nigeria. We have some of the highest followers in Nigeria, 3 million people on social media, and we have been feeding people with all our educational materials. See, let me tell you, Martin Luther King Jr. said that the time comes when you must dramatize the situation. We are not going to sit down and depend on flyers alone. It must be a multi-pronged approach, and one of them is this protest, which the government is so afraid of. They realize that that is the most effective arm of everything we are doing. And that is why they are fighting us every time we want to get on the street. And we're not ready to give up. We will continue to get on the street. We must be on the street as a matter of responsibility for all of us in the revolution movement.
I can only wish you the best.
We're not afraid.
Thanks for joining us on Newsday today, Agba, Jalingo.
God bless Nigeria.
Good luck to you.